Hoarding construct. Sure, I can roll on that. Howdy, Connor. 'Tis the time. All right. Get it going here. There we go. Let me pull up the most recent table over on the Discord. Looks like a D10 and 2 D8s. All right. History to Peeve. The thing at the top of the hill was a looming threat. The last time it appeared, organization was changed forever. Okay. So, the crystal monolith at the top of the hill was a looming threat. The last time it appeared, the castle of Vandalier was engulfed in radiant light. That actually sounds kind of nice. That doesn't sound like a negative thing at all. All things considered, there are way worse outcomes. Oh, the light's bad in this context. Bad light. Bad light for... All right, where are we? 312, 312, see a construct. Okay. Starting on the right-hand side means we need a right-hand prompt on the back cover. So I'm going to roll on the D100 list. What we'll kick off with. Straight 50, right down the middle. 50 is the low spirits. The low spirits. Low spirits. Spirits taken literally or taken to mean, you know, the alcohol on the lower shelves. Low could be lowly. It could also be positional. It could be below the ground type of spirits. These are damned spirits. Hey, Brian. Yeah, so basically just a kind of a loose direction. So on the front and the back of this book, I've put D100 lists of just kind of phrases, just kind of prompts to kind of spin off in one direction or another. So I've got one at the front and I've got one at the back, and they're both unique. So when I'm doing a page here on the right side, I use the back cover. And when I'm doing a page on the left side, I do the front cover. And it's really just to have a place to start, you know. And there's 100 of them, so roll the D100. Yeah. Hey, Toothpaste. Glad you're able to make it. Could be Drunken Ghost, could combine the ideas. So the basic idea is kind of Mad Lib style. I'm going to come up with 2 statements. Each one is going to have probably a D8 list. It's usually a D8 list. That's why that's pre-populated up there. And I don't really know where we're going to end up, starting with ideas that could build worlds, could build encounters, could build characters. Sometimes it's magic items. We've done every manner of idea. So, using the phrase the low spirits suggests that there are high spirits. The lowly spirits, I feel like they wouldn't get the premier, they wouldn't get the prime jobs. Whatever the low spirits are up to, it's not going to be highbrow. It's not going to be the stuff that gets attention. They're slumming it. But hey, spirits need work, right? Spirits need something to do. So I always interpret spirit to be, could be a forest spirit, it could be ghost, could even be some sort of, you know, otherworldly entity that communicates by way of, I'm pretty flexible on that word. Okay. I think I almost have something for us. Okay. Yeah, and I'm tossing an idea out here, Captain Bruce, to suggest a caste system of the spirits. That ghost, you want us to take a job for a ghost that died by blank. Because why can't method of the way that you perished be a way that you gain higher status among the spirits? So, for instance, death by, gosh, I mean, you know, like betraying, for a ghost that died by betraying their friends. by gazelle, via a horde of gazelle. I do like Stampede, so that one's going in. Already we're covering the whole spectrum. Death by betrayal, death by stampede. This is a good start. This is a good start. That ghost, you want us to take a job? Ghost that perished by what would be some sort of like wildly dangerous thing. Like some kind of failed spell. It's too system specific, so I don't like it, but the equivalent of magic missiling yourself when it's like, I don't think you can even do that. How did they manage that? Oh, maybe by offending someone. How about died via their own clockwork creation? Data, thanks for the gifted sub. Appreciate it. Who might they offend? Maybe like offending the elves? Who's it really a bummer to have offended? How about offending some sort of ocean god? Left up to interpretation, purposeful or accidental. I think it could go either way. Part of that's going to depend on the second sentence and what we have to. Sometimes I leave it a little bit ambiguous. That way we have some wiggle room. That ghost? You want us to take a job for a ghost that died by betraying their friends? By stampede? By their own clockwork creation? By offending the ocean god? What's like a... kind of humiliating. Is there some like a bad potion or like some kind of rotten food? It's like nobody wants to go out that way. Thinking of all of the embarrassing fantasy related deaths that could occur, where it's like that. I mean, it's cool to be visited by a spirit, but that one. By mislabel, how about mislabeling their potions? It's a good one. Death by falling statue. Just terrible, terrible luck. It's like effectively some sort of coincidence. Yeah, like just a twist of fate. So we have something moral, we have something animal, we have something they did, we have a god, we have a potion. Oh, like some sort of like incorrectly solving a puzzle. Or by trying to think of like a, yeah, like you know, crushed, like Indiana Jones style, like crushed by the lowering ceiling, falling into the, it's like, who actually do you know that's ever died by falling into a pit of spikes? I mean, come on. Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to be that skeleton. At least a few skeletons in. You want to make sure you want to how about making like a bad deal with a devil? By signing what would be like a bad contract. By signing a devil's contract. You gotta read that fine print. It's everything. Hey, Fizzy. Good question. Depends on how you so my approach to that kind of stuff is I'm pretty loose. I don't like putting specific guardrails on anything like that, because even if it's the case that generally something is a certain way, I can imagine outliers where, you know, this falls outside the norm. It happened because of XYZ. So I don't like my lore to get in the way of a good story. Not unless it's like really out, you know, beyond the pale, I guess. So we have betrayal, unfortunate, hubris, some sort of mistake, stupid. Some sort of failure, maybe. Maybe they failed the, or by attempting. How about they attempted the some sort of a trial by I'm going to say attempting the, let's call it the Celestial Trials. Whatever the heck that means. Sorry to hear that, Sluggish. That's a bummer. All right. Unfortunate quest from an unfortunate soul. Hey, what's up, Sam? That ghost, you want us to take a job for a ghost that died by some embarrassing method? And we're supposed to find their blank. What would a lowly, sort of disrespected... What's a ghost? What's a... It's not even that, really. What is unfinished business that... Unfinished business befitting a low-level party? Because you can't get a high-level party to do this kind of work. So it's an entry-level unfinished business. That's which, now that I say it out loud, it would be a fun campaign to run. Construct mother, next of kin. Yeah, that could work. A corrupt priest? Well, that spins me off into we're supposed to find their body to resurrect them. Which, depending on which one is paired with, could be a real challenge. Yeah, good one, Sam. Collectible adventurers cards. Who steals the church's money? The cherished heirloom. Like their holy symbol, maybe. What's up? A condomador? A condomador? Welcome to the stream. I'm biased, but I think it is. I'm glad you think so. Do it every morning. Unless I can't do it in the morning, and then I do it whenever I can, but most mornings. Their last... They're lucky. How about their lucky... Could we really say that they have like a lucky silver or a lucky gold if they perished in such an unfortunate way? I mean, that maybe, yeah, I do like that. Oh yeah, yeah, kind of for sure. It would be there'll be once we combine that idea with one of these other ones, it'll definitely go down a funny road, I think. Document or redeeming evidence to bring their life meaning. Ooh. Ooh. Partner's birthday present. I mean, is it their will and testament, right? Is it the last document that they left behind? Is it just their will? Sometimes simple works. That ghost, he wants to take a job for a ghost that died by betraying their friends, died via stampede by their own clockwork creation, and we're supposed to find their next of kin, their body to resurrect them, their lucky silver piece, their will. Somebody said pet. I mean, that would motivate most parties that I've run. How about their pet what? It would be just like oh no, we have to save their pet, but it's like, oh, what is it? I don't know if we want to take care of that. It's like, isn't it gone already? Can't imagine it's still around. Finding their home? Sure. their pet plants. How about to find their plants and water them? I actually love that. It's like, we are not doing this for this spirit. Pet could be an ancient dragon. True. They could have some sort of unique item. I think somebody mentioned earlier, like a holy symbol. I think that could be neat. Maybe they had with them some sort of a relic of something or another. Paint their house for resale. Please, it's my unfinished business. You have to help. Yeah. A witch or an object that has their soul tied to this plane via curse. I see what you're saying. Like whatever's binding them. How about their sworn enemy? Could they have buried some treasure? Or buried something? I wonder if they have a secret. What if there's proof of them being very important? What about finding their memories? Ooh, if the ghost can only remember how they died, maybe they're interested in finding out who they were before. All right. I'm gonna say locked away memories. Love it. All right. So now we roll on these and see what kind of wild ideas we come up with. So the neat part about this process is that, you know, the unexpected ideas are when we start to smush these together, because there's, you know, rather than being sort of atomic lists, these are actually complex ideas that we've made. And so when we start to put them together, we have to justify them. And that's where ideally they're really awkward to put together, because then we have to do the most creative work and it gets really fun. All right, that ghost, you want us to take a job for a ghost that died via stampede. And we're supposed to find their locked away memories. So, I love the idea, like you said, Akanda, about what if they don't know them? And I think particularly, you know, I've never really delved into what are the conditions by which a ghost, I think there's lots of reasons that a spirit would sort of become detached from their mortal life. But I think like a super violent, like a horrific, like a stampede death, it's like that level of trauma could lead to almost dissociating completely. Like they don't even know who they are, but they're trying to find them. I mean, we know that, I mean, maybe they, maybe we find out that, you know, just like Mufasa, they were thrown down into that stampede. And I think the way of tracking down the memories would have to start with returning to the scene and sort of working backwards from there. So it'd be like a way of like, you know, almost viewing, you know, it's like a Breath of the Wild. Like if you visit an important area, then you get sort of like the ghost flashback, like this energy of that spirit. And that could be a really fun side quest. That could take you lots of different places. Like you could have a series of sort of like, you know, incomplete ghost memory side quest threads that could be pulled by the party. I think that could be a really fun session or two. Double eights. We'll re-roll the 8. So it goes 8-1. That ghost, you don't want us to take a job for a ghost that died by attempting and probably failing the celestial trial, and we're supposed to find their next of kin. This feels like a sad story. This feels like everybody just assumed that, you know, the town drunk went missing, when really what the town drunk did was very nearly complete the celestial trial. Like I think failing at it but as a result, right, like finding next of kin, finding like and sort of retelling that, or maybe even like maybe there's some sort of reward, treasure or relic or something like that that's granted even for completing a certain amount of the trial, and that's to be returned to their family. That could be something. Rolling lots of 8s. Okay, we'll do 2 for the second one. We'll do 4, 2. That ghost, you want us to take a job for a ghost that died by offending the ocean god. And we're supposed to find their body to resurrect them. If you offend the ocean god, you're going to end up, let me check my notes here, probably in the ocean. How in the world are we supposed to find the body of this ghost? I mean, they're going to be in a terrible state when we do. I think the offense and there would have to be an additional pull for this to get most parties, like just the good nature, but being like, listen, the offense was made, like, if you can find my remains, that's going to be at some sort of undersea temple or some kind of undersea like treasures site. He's like, and I know you want to find my body because it's got the map and it's got the instructions for how to navigate the whole thing. So not only will you, it's like helping a con artist that offended the gods of the sea and then like following in their footsteps to hopefully do slightly better and not offend anybody. It could be, yeah. Across the biomes. That's how bad it was. 6 and 4. That ghost, you want us to take a job for a ghost that died via a bog standard pit trap. And we're supposed to find their plants and water them. No, absolutely not. This is literally like, look, I know that we just got this ability to speak to dead, and so we're excited. This is the first skeleton of the dungeon, the very first skeleton. It's in the pit trap. Who does that? Who perishes in the first? And what's their big unfinished business? Is we need to go find and water their plants? No way. Not going to do it. Not going to happen. That would be a fun. That would be a fun. What do they call it? Foreshadowing. I would make sure that the death of those plants was a big deal. I would make sure that like somehow or another that came back around. It's like, I mean, yeah, that terrible thing that happened. We had somebody who was caring for these fey plants. It was like an adoption thing, and they were caring for this. They were like an amateur botanist. Man, they don't even need to be watered that often. It's not that much. It's not that often. If somebody would have come by with just a cup of water, could have avoided this whole thing. Can do the 6, can't do the 4, can't do a 2. We can do a 7. That ghost, you want us to take a job for a ghost that died by signing a devil's contract. And we're supposed to find their blessed holy item. Seems like in this situation, the contract could potentially be nullified with the... For some reason, the holy item would allow them like a second shot at it. Like it's like a clause that was written in, but since they technically didn't have, the artifact on them because they were tricked, like, so if they can get it, they could actually like come back via the same contract that killed them. Could be interesting. Little Shop of Horrors. I like. Twos and eights. Twos and eights are no good. A one's good. A seven's good. That ghost, you want to stick a job for a ghost that died by betraying their friends? And we're supposed to find their sworn enemy? Oh, man. So they betrayed their friends, and now we need to find and help them defeat their sworn enemy. So this would be your classic, like, no other choice but to betray their friends for a great, but they failed at it, so now their reputation is destroyed. And actually, they don't even care about that. That's fine. They just need to. One of my favorite. This is a huge throwback, but one of my favorite character developments around this idea was from an old WB show called Angel. There's a character named Wesley who kind of betrayed everybody to do. An easy way to do this is to have a character that is, at least using the blueprint from that story, or at least what I remember about it, you know, one character has access to like a prophecy, right? Or has access to some information. And it's like, everybody's not going to go along with this, but I know that I got to do the hard thing, and like that sort of betrayal, but they like misinterpreted the prophecy, or there was like a little caveat. It's hard to follow prophecies, right? Yeah, that could be really neat. A 5 and a 4. You want us to take a job for a ghost that died by mislabeling their potions. And we're supposed to find their will. This is like a makes me think of the Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's like, okay, this goofball that knocked himself off by mislabeling their own potions. Well, what did they label their what insane place? This will would have to be a very cumbersome, difficult to find, impossible to find, like, you know, it's scattered to the winds in some ridiculous way, like they used, I don't know, like they made their will, not realizing that the parchment that they had written it on was going to be then used for like distribution of like spells or something like that. And so it's like it's been written over on the other side and distributed, and so all of these like young wizards or something have it all over the region. So it's like all we got to do is track down. There could be more than 10 or 15 people. The will is made out correctly at the end anyway. Let's see. Maybe down to the last. Yep, down to the last 2. That ghost, you want to stick a job for a ghost that died via their own clockwork creation. And we're supposed to find their lucky silver piece. I like this. I like this. On the back of the potion label. So they were destroyed by their clockwork creation. They need the lucky silver piece because this clockwork creation is still out there. They inadvertently created that. They forgot the piece. They forgot the last. In this case, we're going to interpret silver piece not to be a coin, but to be the last component, or maybe like a, you know, it's like a conscience. And because it didn't have it, and they were too risky, and they didn't wait. They didn't put it in, so now there's like this super capable clockwork machine out there somewhere in hiding, you know, assassin, monster, guarding something, and their unfinished business is to actually put the thing down finally. Well, they want to, this would be fun too, they want to go through the extra effort to not destroy it, and they want to correct course. They want to fix it, But the party could choose to just like, hey, this is not safe. We could just, you know, do away with this thing completely. Gotta love a good moral quandary. There we go. We did it. Another one in the book. So much easier when we only have to do one. I don't miss a day, right? Thanks for all the great ideas. You guys really carried me on that one. I appreciate it. Need more coffee. Yeah, fun to brainstorm with new folks. Try to do this every day. I've been doing it since September. So got a pretty good track record so far. Yeah, thanks, Captain. I'll drop in a link to the Discord in case anybody is a Discord type of person. We've got a fun one over there. This is pretty much the only place that the invite goes out is to streams like this. So it's quite a bit of like-minded people. If you like this stream, odds are you're going to like the Discord. And I'll drop in a link to my zine, which is pictured up here on this tower of supporters. The yellow and orange books up there. Basically, I take the best ones over the months of what we've created in this zine, shine them up, polish them, work them up a little bit, and then they go into that zine. 6-month anniversary of Daily Tables is coming up. That's crazy to think about. That's pretty wild. Conda, this has been a great find. Appreciate you coming out to brainstorm. Yeah, heck yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. Hope to catch you again another time. Don't know what the rest of my day is going to look like, but at the very least tonight I'll be on painting some miniatures and creating some characters, so stay tuned for that. Catch you guys later. Have a good one.